are you?
Me? I'm nobody.
Nobody stars Bob Odenkirk, and it's a movie that you have to go see in theaters. It's only in theaters, so I'm glad this film is forcing people to go to theaters. A bystander who intervenes to help a woman being harassed by a group of men becomes the target of a vengeful drug lord. I saw the trailer for this film, I'm like, oh, it looks pretty fun. Saul Goodman just beating the shit out of people. I mean, what more could you want? That's all I really thought, and I didn't have much expectations for this, and I was pleasantly surprised by this film. This film is a lot of fun. Bob Odenkirk is great in this film. Sometimes he's just Saul Goodman, but that's all we really need. And he helms action really well. I was surprised by that. He can kick the shit out of people. And speaking of action, which is why you go see a film like this, it is directed so well. There are so many wide shots. There's not much shaky cam. There's great editing. The action here is helmed so well, it reminded me of John Wick. There are a lot of scenes and moments of just Bob Odenkirk just fucking beating the shit out of anyone in sight. He's just a killing machine, but you know what's going on. Like I said, a lot of wide shots in frame, some slow-mo. You understand what's going on, and the action is very exciting here. And not just the action, there's some really great shots in this film. There's some great sequences of slow-mo, music choice, all that. The direction in this film was very surprising. I expected this film to be generic, but there is something unique about the style of directing here, just in general with the action. I was very surprised by that. I was surprised that there was some good visual storytelling here. Right from the beginning, you understand why Bob Odenkirk feels a certain way, what his motivations are, and there's not much dialogue. It's really just shown to you. And I also like, for the most part, this story is pretty straightforward. It's just Saul Goodman kicking the shit out of people. It's straightforward like John Wick. It's not as straightforward as John Wick, but you get the idea. When you make a movie like this, where it's just one guy, is just a killing machine, you don't really want to bog it down with other subplots and things like that. The story, for the most part, is straightforward. Oh, and also Christopher Lloyd's in this movie. I didn't know that. That was a great surprise. He's not really in it much, but he was great. Even though I was surprised by this film, I still have some issues with it. I know I said before that they did a great job with their song selection, and I think for the most part they did, but there are times where it seemed like overkill, and there was another slow motion sequence, and I'm like, alright, I get it. Classical song slow-mo, I get it. And as I said earlier, the story is for the most part pretty straightforward. There are times where it drags, it slows down to add some characterization, add new characters, things of that nature that slowed the movie down as a whole. And the villain is very forgettable. He's just a guy. He's not menacing at all. He's just a guy that's there. He's pissed off. He's just a guy. And I know I said before I like how the story's straightforward, but there are times where the plot just felt generic and predictable. But in a movie like this, that's going to happen. You come for this movie for the action set pieces, and they are great. Like I said before, they were surprisingly really, really well done. But that can't help the fact that the plot is pretty generic, and I think people will be surprised that there isn't as much action in this movie as they think. There's about as much as I expected, but I think people are going to expect more. In the end, though, I was very surprised by nobody. Bob Odenkirk was a lot of fun as an action star. I did not expect that, but he was a lot of fun just kicking the shit out of people. The action sequences in here were done very well. I was very surprised by the directing in this film, and the story is pretty straightforward. That's what you want in a film like this. But there are parts where the film can drag, and the villain was very forgettable, and the plot is very generic. But honestly, if you love the John Wick movies, I think you'd have a lot of fun here. I'm going to give Nobody 7 Davy Daves. If you like the John Wick movies, you are going to have a lot of fun here. And there were points in this film where I thought we were going to get some sort of John Wick cinematic universe. There's some underground shit and some devices. No spoilers, of course. But I was like, that reminded me of John Wick. And if they're going to make a John Wick cinematic universe, fuck yes. So Nobody. It's out in theaters, and it's only in theaters. Let's go. Go to the theater. Go see Nobody. And thank you so much for watching. Click here to see more of Dave Dave's Takes.